Hey everybody, I'm the Pigglesworth, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Along with Piggy. Now you might notice something a little bit different with this episode. The artwork, the music, even the thumbnail for the video, it's just a little different than what you're used to. And well, there's a good reason for that. We're starting, we're going to start Season 2. Now, in the last couple of episodes, it felt like we were building up to some big event over there. See if I can get over here and show you. The tree farm, this giant monstrosity and all these builds that went into the tree farm right over there. And so it just felt right. It felt like we had kind of come to a conclusion of all the different episodes building to that point. And I wanted to start doing something a little different. I need to start getting farms going, maybe an iron farm and some food. And so I wanted to start building in this direction, somewhere over in here. I haven't quite decided yet, but wanted to, shift gears a little bit from what we've been doing. And a new season to do that seemed like the right thing to do. So that's what we're going to do. Now, the first thing that I've got to do is figure out where my spawn chunk borders are at. And that's going to be important because that's going to help me know where to set up all my farms and how to make everything work. Now, for those of y'all that don't know what a spawn chunk is, it's a bunch of chunks. A chunk is a 16 block by 16 block area. And a spawn chunk is a 16 chunk by 16 chunk area that stays loaded no matter what you do in the game. Now, if you go to the nether or you go to the end after 60 seconds, this area will shut down. So there are little tricks you can do to keep that running. Get some food here. So, but what we've got to do is the first thing we got to do is figure out where are the borders for the spawn chunks. So we're actually going to use the sun today. The sun is going to work to our advantage. Way up there in the sky. You're going to help us out, buddy. I know we've had our differences, but like I said, maybe someday we can change that. So we're going to use the sun. Now let me see if I can explain what's going to happen. I'm going to wait for the sun to go down. It's going to be night. And I'm going to sleep in this bed. Now what that does is that lets me set my spawn point. So as long as this bed exists, if I was to die, I would just respawn here. But if I sleep here and break the bed, and then I die, there will be nowhere to spawn me. So the game will default to spawning me somewhere over in the center of where the spawn chunks are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the sun to go down. I'm going to sleep in a bed, and then I'm going to go jump in a lake. I know, it sounds terrible. But I'm going to go jump in a lake and let my character drown. And what will happen is when I respawn, I'm going to respawn over near the center point. Now from there, we're going to write down the coordinates, and then we're going to do a little math, and we're going to figure out where the borders are. So I'm going to wait for the sun to go down, hop in this bed and break it, go drown, and then I'll bring you back and show you the results. So I'll be right back. All right, everybody. Here we are underwater, waiting for ourselves to run out of air. Okay, so this is the way this is going to work. I have slept in a bed, but I broke it, so I'm about to die, and I'm going to respawn in the middle of spawn chunks. Now, for any of y'all that have seen episode 1, whoop, there we go, respawn. There we go. For any of y'all that have seen episode 1, you might recognize this spot. This is where we started off. This is where I said, hey, everybody, for the very first time. That is really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this spot, and I'm going to try and explain how this works. Okay? I'm going to hit F3 on my keyboard, just like that, and see on the left where it says XYZ. And right underneath it, it says block. Okay? So block is telling us our XYZ coordinate that we're standing at right now, which is 119, 63, 196. And if you notice, the 63 is going to change when I jump. I'll place a block, watch. Whoop, 64. See how that works? So that is our vertical dimension, our Y dimension. X and Z work off of north, south, east, and west. Now, the way that the game calculates chunks, like I said, it's a 16 block by 16 block chunk. And then you multiply that by 16 for how many chunks there are. And the number comes up to, let's see, I had it written down. There we go. It comes up to 256 blocks. Now, I better break this block so I don't lose this mark. Now, it doesn't mean that it's 256 blocks in each direction from the center point. You cut that in half, because see, this is the middle. Okay? So it's not 16 chunks that way, that way, that way, and that way. It's 8 that way, and 8 that way, this being the center. So, when you take 256 and you cut it in half, you get 128. So let's go back here. We're going to get our direction. We're going to face north. And let's see, what number changes? The z-coordinate. See how the z-coordinate's changing? So we're standing at 196, and if we move this way, the number gets smaller. So that means we want to subtract 128 from 196. Ooh, can I do that on camera real fast? So 96 minus 28 would be 76, minus 8 would be 68. I think I did that right. I'll go off camera and measure that in a minute. But what we want to do is we want to run until we see the z-coordinate, which is changing rapidly. We want to see it get to the number 68. Let's see. We're almost there. Ooh, we're getting close. So what this is going to mean is this is going to be the edge of the spawn chunks. Did we get it? Right here. Okay. So it should be right here. Now, I've got some blocks over here in a chest, and what I'm going to do is a little test. We're going to throw blocks on the ground and walk away. And what's going to happen is this area that stays loaded, after 5 minutes, those blocks are going to disappear, because after 5 minutes, any items that are on the ground, they despawn. But if you place an item on the other side of the border and you walk away, that area is going to unload. Where did I put that block? I wonder if this is it. I think it is. Let's check, because grass already grew on it. Wow, that was fast. Okay, so if I toss blocks over on this side and I toss them over here, in 5 minutes, these will despawn because this area is always turned on. But these won't. Now what will happen is I'm going to find which block line they stop despawning, and that's going to tell me the edge. And I've got to do that all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to find all of my border edges, and then I'm going to mark them so I know where they are. And then we can come back and get started on today's project. So I'll see you in just a minute. And there we go. Those are going to be the coordinates for my 4 corners. This corner being way over here. You can kind of see stone pillar set up over there. And that corner, exactly diagonal, is way over there. Ooh, and you can see a crazy looking stone pillar over there. Now, the information that I just told you about how to find spawn chunks and how they're laid out, I got that from the Minecraft wiki. And when I did the math, I think I did the math right, but for some reason these numbers, the 207 and 16, that's like 190 blocks apart, not the 256 that I expected. So I'm not quite sure what that's about, but those are the edges where when I tossed stuff on the ground and went really far away and then came back 5 minutes later, those were the border lines where things would disappear. Anything outside of those border lines, stuff would stay. And that is because the chunks were not turned on. They only turn on when you get near them, except for spawn chunks. Spawn chunks are always on, and items will despawn after 5 minutes. So that's why stuff that you leave inside of a spawn chunk will despawn, while the other stuff won't. That's how you find those borders. But we're going to come over here, because I'm going to show you what I'm going to get started working on today. Kind of kept trying to decide in my mind what would be the best thing to build first. And some more cows have spawned, and we've still got some food growing over there, so food is not as big of an issue as I thought it was going to be. Some of y'all might recognize what this pattern is. This is going to be an iron farm. Now, I know what you're thinking. Piggy, What in the world are you doing building an iron farm right here on the surface? What's wrong with you? Well, all this is, it's a template. Now, this block right here is the border edge of the spawn chunks. And the reason why I did this is because now I'm using a iron farm design that I got from Doc M. I'm going to have a link down in the description and up there in the corner showing you how to get to that video so you can watch it for yourselves. It's been around for quite some time, so most of y'all probably know what it is. But I laid out the area that this is going to take up based off of that corner. And the reason why I put it in this corner is, one, I got it as far away from everything as possible, because this is going to use a bunch of doors and make the game think that there's a bunch of villages here. Well, no more doors can appear anywhere 85 blocks from that line in that direction, that direction, that direction, and that direction. And so this kind of worked out. Right here, it's an ocean, or a very large body of water. So there's no doors that are going to appear over there. The village over there and those doors, they're well over 100 blocks away, so that's good. And I'm thinking about building a giant port somewhere over there. So I can do that 100 blocks away from here. So this area can be safe. We can nice it up or whatever. But also, I'm going to build 2 cells. Now, the cell that I'm standing on, it's not actually going to be here. What I'm going to do is go way down in the ground by the bedrock, and I'm going to build the first cell. The second cell is going to be 80 blocks above it. So it's going to be somewhere just a little above my head. And what I'm going to do is, after I get all the cells built and I know that everything's working, for a little bit it's going to be an eyesore, but once I get it working, this spot right here is kind of a natural hill anyway. I'm just going to build it up, cover it in dirt, and it's going to look natural. It's going to look like it's just a piece of the ground, like something belongs here. And then I'm going to create some kind of build over here. I've already worked out the redstone and got a really cool design going. And it's going to look like, oh, almost told you. You're just going to have to wait and see. But so for today, what I'm going to do is I'm using this template so that, see, when we hit F3, see how I can look at my block XYZ coordinates. And this is going to help me know when I'm way underground, only the areas that I need to dig out to make this template fit down there. So I'm going to go get some tools. I'm going to write down a bunch of these coordinates, and we're going to get to digging. Because there's a couple of rules we got to follow. One is this center point has to go all the way down to bedrock, so that when the iron golems get caught in this area, they get pushed all the way down. And the other thing is, along this line is where I'm going to have my doors. And the way the game sees villages is you have to have light on one side of the door. Now, I don't mean light like, a torch. I mean, it has to be able to see the sky, the sun. We actually have to have the sun on our side. So what I'm going to have to do is dig a trench all the way around this edge, all way down to the very bottom, so that sunlight can come out. And what we're going to do is when we build our hilltop finally, I'm going to put glass blocks along the edge so nothing can fall down in there, especially me, because I'm such a klutz. But we'll cover it up. We'll make it look nice. You won't really see it that much. So, like I said, and I even have a bed over here with me. Just you try and mess with me, buddy. So, I'm going to go gather some tools. I'm going to get this whole layout figured out. I'm going to go underground and start digging out the area for the iron farm. And then I'll bring you back. There we go. All right, everybody. Let me get this arranged. I have managed to get the iron farm built. Well, not quite the whole iron farm. I still have to get the villagers done, and I think we're going to do that in the next episode. But I did manage to dig all the way down there. Yeah, I used lava down there as lighting, just so nothing bad would spawn. And I went ahead and tried to make it look a little interesting. Some kind of a little bit of a pattern going on. This is the upper level up in here for any of y'all that are familiar with the Doc M style iron farm. And basically what it is I've got these 2 levels, these 2 cells that are going to spawn iron golems. And then way down there, I think it's 75 or 80 blocks down, there's another one way down there. It's doing the same thing. But What I needed to do was I needed to go ahead and add the water in here. Because what's going to happen is, off of the sides, we're going to have a bunch of villagers. And those villagers are going to trick the game into thinking that this is a village. And that there's enough villagers around that it needs to spawn iron golems. Now, trying to get the golems to willfully go down into the lava to get cooked into iron ingots, yeah, they don't want to do that. So you've got to use this water to push them around. But for any of y'all, and y'all probably kind of see what I'm doing, if you place water 3 apart every other block, then the water between will gather together and it'll make water source blocks. So you can make infinite water this way. And so what I'm having to do is, whoops, don't want to do that. I need to get that right there. And that. There we go. Oh, messed that up. There we go. Well, water's pushing me around. This is crazy. But you can see how with 2 blocks together, they'll create infinite water source, right? Well, here's the problem. I can't put water here because that will gather together. It'll make infinite water. It'll fill up the whole room and there'll be no current pushing anything towards the middle like I'm getting pushed right now. So what we got to do is not put water source blocks in this spot, but watch what happens. See what the dirt did? See how it pushed you into the corner? Well, iron golems could get stuck here, and then we wouldn't be getting our iron. So we're going to place water right there. And see, now anything that gets over here is going to get pushed forward, and we don't have to worry about all the source blocks gathering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill up the rest of this area with water, and then I'm going to start getting ready to get my villagers ready so that we can start breeding them and get more villagers, because we need a lot of villagers for this build. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to design, I want you to pick an iron farm design, and then, oh, this is a cool little view. I like this. I'm just going to sit over here for a minute. But I want you to pick out an iron farm design, and then I want you to build it. You don't have to use the Doc M style one. There's quite a few different ones out there, so it's just the one I chose to use. But I want you to build an iron farm, and I want you to maybe come up with a pattern or just something interesting to make it look a little different. And then I want you to send me pictures on Twitter, because I love seeing the builds that you guys do. And I will tweet out as many of those as I can. And also, remember, we're starting Season 2. So what that means is the map for Season 1, all the stuff that I built in Season 1, check out the links down in the description, because now you can download that map. Now, all the builds that I do here in Season 2, I'm not going to make them available to download until Season 2 is over. But you can download Season 1, open that map, and check it out for yourself. So I'm going to get back to, well, I guess I better go ahead and do this, because this is going to need to get done. But I'm going to go ahead and start fighting all these water currents so that I can get all this stuff in line. There we go. That's what I needed. Just push me around. Oop. How did I place that water back? Okay, there we go. But anyway, I'm going to keep fighting with this water. I'm going to get this stuff all set up, and I will see you guys in the next episode.